What is up, RotoGrinders? The start of 2+ hours nonstop MLB DFS conversation. It, of course, is Tuesday, which means it's the People's Show for the very last time. The very last time this year, as far as a baseball version of the People's Show. Of course, we do the People's Show 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast Sundays. Talk a little bit of football. This, of course, still baseball. Still baseball. It's a 10-gamer. Myself, Bobby Gomes, Tasteful Tides, Tim Buell. Tim, I know you love when we talk a little bit of season-long stuff, and you probably weren't ready for this. You might not even know this, Tim. But myself and yourself, amongst others, we're in the RotoGrinders NFL season-long league. You're aware of this, right? Of course you're aware of this. Do you know that we are tied right now at the top? We're both 3-0, and we are squaring off this week. Week 4. It's
I did not know.
This is you.
Okay.
This excited.
This is the only reason why I even joined the league, so I could beat you and brag about it on air. So this is a very, very, very important week for me. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, you're just lucky that I had Pacheco. Like I'm a man down, but I'm not making any excuses. I'm not doing that. Next man up. That's our team mentality at Gray Sports Almanac. But of course, you're Tasteful Tides. I believe that is the name of your team. You stay consistent with that. But, yeah, we'll have to keep the people, of course. Everybody cares about other people's fantasy teams, right? So we'll have to be live tweeting it out on Sunday. I'm sure everybody's excited about this, the clash of the two best teams, at least early season. Bobby, who do you think, not knowing anything else, just knowing like who we are, you haven't seen the teams. Who do you think is going to win? You want to make a line?
Well, it's not about who I think is going to win. It's more about who I'm rooting for. And currently, I'll be rooting for Tim.
Why do you say currently? It's not going to change. You're going to consistently.
If you can give me some answers at the end of the show, maybe I'll switch my tune. You can give me some wins in these rankings
for the tiers. A little quid pro quo. Yeah, we'll see.
These last two shows, man. Oof.
It's never personal. You know that it's never personal. It's just sometimes we just disagree, which is fine. Just if you just get the correct answers, I won't have to change them. How about that? Did you ever consider that as a possibility?
Late season MLB, Dean, it's not always going to be the correct answers. We're grasping at straws here,
Yeah, and I don't know if I have the correct answers either, if we're being honest. Like you said, it is the late season. There's not a lot of games that mean a lot at this point. Houston is one game away of closing it out as far as winning the AL West, taking on Seattle. Seattle basically has to win out, so that game is important to both teams. Detroit earlier today, I think they won again. I'm pretty sure they won again. Detroit just keeps winning. I think they're actually favored now at this point to get themselves a wild card spot. That's pretty cool. Good for them. This is the last series ever at the Oakland Coliseum. I think they closed out on Thursday, and of course the dirtbag owner there raised prices the last day, taking advantage of people. One last. Well, I don't want to get on the rant, but the way they treated these fans in Oakland is.
How did he raise prices? How much did he raise prices?
Yeah, because the game sold out. Like the Coliseum's been there forever. The Oakland A's, they're not really sure. There's some uncertainty. I guess the plan right now is they're going to be playing in Sacramento next year. Supposedly they might go to Vegas. There's nothing official there. If you ask me, I think MLB's got to step in and force them to sell. And there are people in Oakland that theoretically want to keep them in Oakland, and they'll build a ballpark and all that. But yeah, the fans are fed up, but they also want to be there for the last game. The last game is on Thursday afternoon, and it's a sellout in Oakland.
It's such an easy move, Vegas. It's such an easy move.
It's a great market. Yeah.
It's got to be Vegas. They can't stay in Oakland. Sorry. They have to go to Vegas.
They do have fans, though. I know, it's just they're very upset and they're disgruntled.
Yeah, they'll be Raiders fans, too, and they can fly down to Vegas and watch the team. I'd be a Dolphin fan if I could go down to Miami every week. I don't need the Patriots anymore. Brady's gone. It's,
Yeah. It's it's a storied franchise. So Oakland's been they've had some great runs, but I don't know why I'm going up on a tangent about that, but just sort of thinking about the other things, big picture wise. The White Sox, if you're curious, they've been eliminated from the playoffs, as has the Angels, their opponent tonight. Just a loser leave towns series, just to relegate whichever team loses this series amongst the Angels and the White. Combine the two teams, and the team still stinks, right? If you combine the Angels and the White Sox, it's still a terrible team. Pretty sure it's still a terrible team. Baltimore is taking on New York. I guess possible playoff stuff, but both teams essentially in. Like they're, I think Baltimore's not officially in mathematically, but they are going to get in. Minnesota, same deal. I think Minnesota is right on the fringe of locking up a playoff spot, but like it's no. They're actually like 50-50 because of Detroit's climb. Yeah, math-wise, Detroit is they haven't eaten away at Minnesota. Minnesota's now basically a coin toss, 50-50, and the Royals have kind of fallen back too. Astros 99.5%, Mariners 12%. They kind of sort of basically have to win out. And the Braves and the Mets, that is the other important series as far as playoff implications. Atlanta kind of a 50-50 coin toss. The Mets 80% according to Fangraphs. When it comes to chances of making the playoffs, other teams, of course, are looking to try to Arizona, one was that's on the fringe, probably gets in, about 75% chance. Tim, do we care about this? Is this worth noting? I think it's kind of sort of somewhat important to the conversation. I don't want to overweight it, but I think it matters to some degree.
In terms of pitching, I think it does matter a little bit, but also I think it really matters with hitting as well. We're going to talk a lot about Minnesota in this matchup tonight, and I'm really worried that they're going to quickly pull some of these righties for lefties like faster than normal, and they're going to be extremely popular, Minnesota. So that was like the first thing that I thought about, like what am I going to do with Minnesota? What am I going to do about this pinch hit risk? And is that pinch hit increased because of all this playoff stuff? And I think it does increase that pinch hit risk. So that's one thing.
Did somebody read the expert survey today, Tim? Not to cut you off, but that's what I was talking about today. Is if I play Minnesota, it's really, really tempting to play Margot. There's no certainty Weathers goes 3 times around or even starts 3 times around. So there's a legit chance. Like you said, Minnesota, they have to win. And it's the Marlins. They should win, right? Minus 250 favorites. But Weathers steps out. Most likely a righty comes in. And if it's the 5th inning and it's 1-1, they probably bring in a lefty for Margot, and Margot's gone. And he gets 2 at-bats. And we've seen Minnesota do that before. And that was one of my stands in the survey. I'm like, I'm just trying my best not to play Manny Margot. I'm going to try my best not to play Kyle Farmer. I know they're crazy cheap, but they're 2 most likely candidates to get pitch hit for. So I do like that take because Minnesota, one of the highest team totals as well on the board, right around 5. So yeah, for cash games, sure, I get it. If you're still grinding the cash games, good for you. But that's definitely something I'm going to be aware of, and probably not. And if Margot homers in his first at bat, the second at bat, all right, we'll fire up some Netflix. It's okay. It's going to be all right. But that's one of my stands tonight.
And then for pitching, I think this Mets Braves game, I think you could conceivably see both of these pitchers, if they're struggling at all, get early hooks. Schwellenbach's projected for 18% ownership against a Mets team that doesn't really strike out all that much. I mean, he has been dominant against righties. I'll give him that. But I think if he has any kind of, struggle, they're not going to let him work it out. So I'm kind of, I guess I'd say, nervous to roster Schwellenbach. Severino I was considering for tournaments, but I'm not going to, just because if he's even somewhat bad, it's going to be really, really early hooks, I think, for both of these pitchers.
Only 2 lefties for the Braves. I'm not sure if you guys saw this note. Albies is back, but he's only hitting right-handed. So he's not switch hitting. He's not hitting from the left side. Severino's got pretty dramatic splits historically, left versus right. And it's just Harris and Olsen. 2 pretty good bats, obviously, from the left-hand side. But and it does say Albies like both, but that's not what he's doing right now. And I just probably can't even fix that in the system because that's what he does. When he's fully healthy, and I guess his wrist might be still bothering him. I'm not really sure what the reasoning is. He's coming back from that injury, and he's just hitting from the right-hand side right now. Bobby, what do you have as far as a screenshot on this slate? We kind of hinted at it when it comes to the pitchers. To me, the 2 of the best pitchers on this slate, Bailey Over and Framber Valdez, they have good matchups, and they are needed out there. Both teams are trying to win. Minnesota's trying their best to win. Houston would love to just lock things up tonight, I would imagine. Let Leonardo Alvarez rest up. They say he might be ready this weekend. He's not going to be in the lineup tonight. I imagine they might even rest him the rest of the season if they lock up the AL West, taking on Seattle. To me, those are my 2 favorite pitchers. I love that Framber is projected fairly low owned. Hopefully that holds up. because he's a little bit expensive, but his consistency, we'll talk about his consistency has been outrageous of late. Not the same, last 2022, he had 25 straight games of quality starts. It hasn't been exactly that, but he's basically that guy because he gets a pile of ground balls, he eats a bunch of innings, does not give up home runs. So he's my favorite pitcher, spoiler alert. But you tell me, Bobby, what are we looking at here as far as the screenshot? We have St. Louis in course. We should have mentioned that as well. I don't know if that's good chalk or bad chalk. I'm curious your thoughts, but give me the overall. And one more thing. I'm sorry, Bobby. I'm going to throw it to you in a second. I did want to get this out. See Paul in chat talking about Tournament Tuesday. It is not Tournament Tuesday. It typically is, but we were not in the air yesterday. There was no Movie Monday. But in lieu of Tournament Tuesday, it is Television Tuesday. If you love Movie Monday, if you love Fleet Thursday, then Television Tuesday is for you. And with that, we should go ahead and drop the first clue as well. Hit that like button while you're at it too, hanging out there in the chat. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications.
Simpsons. It's the answer is The Simpsons.
What if it was The Simpsons, Bobby? The game will be over. It would just be ruined. And now what do we do? Who do we give premium to? You? You already got it.
It was The Simpsons. I just figured.
It might be. I mean, if it is, then the game is ruined. But, the only way to find out if it's The Simpsons, you go ahead, you jump in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, and you answer The Simpsons, and then, producer TJ or myself will catch it. We'll say, hey, we got a winner. But, guesses in the YouTube are just, you're getting them reps, but they're not official. Guesses on the show, you're just getting, if you're verbalizing a guess, it's not official. But, it may be The Simpsons. I suppose it's possible. But there you go. Get your guesses in. The first clue is floater. Floater is the first clue. So maybe it's not The Simpsons. Or maybe it is. I'm not sure. Bobby, what are your thoughts as far?
I feel like it is by how perturbed you were at.
Or maybe I'm just playing poker. I'm just playing a little poker for you.
I feel like it is for whatever reason now.
My God. I would be steaming if it was The Simpsons. I couldn't hold back.
Bailey Ober, Framber Valdez, they're going to be my 1 and 2. They're obviously in a position where both teams need to win. It makes sense. Pfott, Schwellenbacher. I prefer Schwellenbacher to Pfott as my 3-4, or Brandon Pfott, however you say his name. I'm going to get killed again in the comments for not pronouncing people's names right, especially last season of MLB. Schwellenbacher versus the Mets. I liked attacking the Mets. I know they're not a high strikeout team. Schwellenbach, what do you have for a pitch count on Schwellenbach? I know Tim brought up pitch count concerns. They could pull him. But what's the average between the bat and RotoGrinders? I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fluid situation where it's a good point Tim's making. If he's pitching well, they're going to keep him out there, right? But if he's not, there might be a quick hook, and there's no way of really knowing, and it's just a median number. Our median number is 90, according to RG, and I'll tell you what the bat has as well. We can probably
bat has 84.
Okay, hold on, wait a second. I went to UC 87, I think. 87. Does anybody want to double check? That's the is that
done,
the average?
Good job, Dean.
It's not an accounting major, but fairly certain 87 is the middle ground. Oh yeah, I didn't tell TJ the answer. Yeah, TJ. I thought, okay. TJ, all right. I don't know why I'm talking and voicing that out loud, but TJ's saying, hey, you got to give me the answer just in case somebody actually gets the question correct. Yeah, what else you got here, Bobby, as far as your pitchers? There are a bunch of pretty good, but not many exceptional pitchers on the slate. That's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah, there's not much. Nathan Eovaldi for Texas, I think someone who's in play for me. He would be my 5th guy, I would say, versus the Oakland Athletics. I know the Oakland's coming down to the close of the Coliseum, but they have a 3.8 implied run total. Baldy's a strikeout pitcher. I think he's fine. And then 6 would be Bowden Francis for Toronto. And that's pretty much my 6. Versus the Sox. I don't know. I feel like the Sox are just it's about that time of the year for people in Boston. It's starting to get cold. The weather's changing. We can go with some Bowden Francis. That's about it. In terms of bats, like Minnesota, I do like the point you guys make, worrying about the pinch hit. I do think Royce Lewis is the best play on the slate. So for me, I'm going to be playing them as secondary stacks, but as full stacks, I'll probably stay away. I think St. Louis is likely good chalk in Colorado. Who else do I like here? Like the Yanks as always. I don't mind Colorado. Like I play some Colorado bats tonight. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at currently. Let me see anything else. I don't like to play San Fran as a full stack, but definitely can play them as a secondary stack. Arizona, I think Arizona's in play, and those are pretty much the offenses I'm picking from.
Yeah, there's just 2 teams with a team total above 5, and it's both teams in Colorado. Looks like basically kind of sort of somewhat of a bullpen game for St. Louis. Maybe McGreevy goes 4 or 5. And Feltner on the other side. Colorado still with it's just still one lefty in that bullpen. If you want narrative street, Charlie Blackmon, I don't know if you guys saw it. He already announced his retirement. So this is his retirement week. Leading off tonight, the Colorado lineup is out. He had a good run, Blackmon, but it's kind of over. It's
I feel like he was playing when I was in high school.
I think it's his 14th season, and every single season he played with Colorado. So you don't get that much more these days, right? What other player has been with the same team for 10 plus years? What do you got? Like recently?
You know what? He fits the bill for Colorado. He's got the beard. He had the long hair the entire career.
Well, no, you ever see his picture when he was a rookie? It's funny you say that. Have you seen he was clean shaven when he came up? Maybe TJ can throw it up on the screen, maybe not. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's pretty funny seeing what he looked like without the beard. But like the progression, like you said, he did sort of adapt to that Colorado mindset, I suppose. But yeah, all right, we have to check and see. Here we go. Yeah, does that look like Charlie Blackmon right there to you?
No, the beard does.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the one
like prior to Colorado, after Colorado.
Yeah, it's like Grant Neefer. Grant's out there in Colorado now, and he's got that.
Yeah, he's got the beard. Grant looks like a Colorado guy too. Yeah, he's adopted the Grant Neefer look.
There you go. Yeah, no St. Louis lineup just yet, unless it's just come out. I don't think it has. Maybe I missed it. We got the Athletics that just dropped. Yeah, no St. Louis just yet. A pretty disappointing team in the season. Yeah, but we'll talk more in depth, obviously, as far as stacks later. Anything else you want to say as far as stacks, Tim, or do you want to focus on pitchers? Joseph is telling Altuve. Yeah, Altuve's been with the Astros for 14 seasons. Yeah, that's a good one. He's been there forever. Kershaw, 17 seasons with LA. There's not many, though. There's not many out there. Certainly they're playing today. Those are both really good answers. What do you got, Tim?
Yeah, so I think, 2 other pitchers that I just wanted to briefly touch on. I actually am considering Kohonowitz at 6K in single entry. I would not play him in cash, obviously. I'm not playing cash at this point in the season. He's only 6K. I can load up on any of the bats that I want. I think Cannon is also viable against the Angels for 6,200. I saw a question in chat about Mitch Spence. I would prefer going to Cannon or Kohonowitz. So one of those two I prefer over Spence. Those 2 are my favorite punts. I'm not really on Spence at all today. And I liked Bobby's call on Bowden Francis too, 8,300. This Red Sox lineup is really not that strong. So I think he's viable in that mid-range. Brandon Pfaadt, like Bobby said, he's very, very viable also. So really, there's quite a few different ways you could go about it today. Valdez is definitely your safest option, quote unquote, but he's by no means like a must play.
No, Kohonowitz is like not good, but he's just any live pitcher throwing baseballs against that terrible, terrible team.
He put up 20. He put up 20 against them last week. So
yeah,
I don't
7 days makes you nervous though, doesn't it?
The what?
He just faced them. Like, should we have questions or reserves?
Sure. I mean, you could definitely say that it gives the White Sox a little bit more of an advantage, but it's still the White Sox. Like, this isn't like a real major league team. So I'm still kind of. And then of course Cannon put up 21 against this Angels team. So I mean, I don't know. I would definitely be taking some shots on both these guys in any format other than cash games, but any kind of GPP format.
I'm trying to. Do we think this ownership is correct, Tim? Like, is Framber really going to be this unowned on DK and FanDuel? Everything is really flat, just the way prices are. I don't think anybody's going to be 20%, which is pretty interesting. But we currently have Ober right now, Tim, at 32%, Eovaldi at 32%, Texas going nowhere. I think they're committed to him next season, or he has to opt into like a $20 million deal or something like that. So, most likely they're going to have him back. I assume he opts in. Fought at 22 against San Fran, pretty rough team these days. Bowden Francis, you mentioned how that offense there for Boston kind of sputtering. No Devers as well. There are a couple lefties that are kind of sort of someone interested in, but and he's been a little bit lucky if you got to dig into this stuff for Francis, but I'm not really afraid of that Boston lineup. But we're talking 15% for Valdez, and it's really a pretty distinct break, right? Because it's Ober 32, Eovaldi 32, Fought 22, Francis 22, then some guys in the teens, Schmidt 15, Valdez 15, Schwellenbach 17, and then nobody bigger than 6%. So there's a whole group of 10 guys. We're projecting less than 6%. Even a couple good pitchers, Gilbert, King, Webb, just matchups mostly is what's pushing them down in price, I suppose. Bayo, I think, is a perfectly fine pitcher. We have Konowitz is at 3%, which I think might get a little higher. That wouldn't surprise me. But do we mostly agree with this ownership stuff, Tim? Obviously, the closer we get to lock, the more refined it gets.
The one that I don't get is Clark Schmidt. Why he's the sixth highest owned projected pitcher. I think he's got a really, really rough matchup. He's projected for 84 pitches. He's 7'9". I don't see him getting that much ownership, but maybe I'm way off. I don't know. I would think that more ownership will flow to Brandon Fott, to Bailey Ober, and to Framber Valdez. I think Valdez will be a little bit higher owned on DK at least. I think he'd be pushing closer to 20. You know, 20, a little north of 20.
By the way, Valdez, just to talk about his consistency, at least 5 strikeouts and 16.6 DK points in his last 12 starts. In 5 of those starts, he had at least 9 strikeouts. So, I mean, again, we always talk about floor, and floor is kind of an illusion to some degree. But if a pitcher has a really solid floor, it is Framber Valdez, if that makes sense. Certainly he could implode. It can't happen. BABIP can really go awry. Casey Douglas is telling us Framber's 0 for 2. He's 0-2 in 3 starts this year for Seattle. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't mean – what does that mean? I don't even know. I mean, what does that mean? Okay, he's 0-2. Maybe his offense didn't score for him. I have not looked specifically at the BBP. I got to confess. Framber versus Seattle. I don't think I care. He's only averaged 9.4. Yeah, go ahead.
Not that it matters, but is this the win of the division?
If Houston wins tonight, they lock it up. And Seattle, Seattle's still battling. They basically have to win out. They're alive, right? But floundering, right? So
should we have more interest in Gilbert then?
And no Jordan. Yeah, I think Gilbert's fine. It's just I wish it was a little bit cheaper, right? At 9.3, it's hard, but
700 less than Valdez, and if he gets the win, it's leverage. There's leverage there, right?
Yeah, no, I bet the under in this game, so I'm hoping for a pitcher's duel. I've under 7.5. I'm just expecting not a lot of runs. Again, is Houston lineup without Jordan? It's a significant hit. So I like Gilbert fine. I just like Framber more. But as far as the Ks in the season, Gilbert's 27.2%. That's higher than Valdez's 24.2. The biggest number on the slate is not going to get played. That's Michael King at 28% against the Dodgers. I kind of get that. But certainly he's flashed upside too. But Ohtani at 7.5, it's just bonkers. What are we doing? I understand it. I get it. I'm not going to say that's wrong, but man, we'll get there.
Is he going to pitch in the playoffs? Will they let him pitch in the playoffs?
It's been floated out there. Apparently he's been working on the side, and maybe, I guess, we'll see. They certainly can use him. And maybe it's just a bullpen stuff in a pitch. I'm not sure.
Bullpen stuff is what I'm thinking. I think it makes it in the pen.
I mean, as if he needed to put like a cherry on top of the season. Maybe that's something he will do as well. We're talking, he might get 55-55 the way he's closing right now. It's been spectacular what he's doing, obviously. Trying to see if there's anybody else we should focus on. Tim, do you have your two pitchers settled? I know you're talking about a variety of names. Or are you still kind of bouncing back and forth?
I know I'm going to eat the chalk with Ober. That's it. I don't know who my SV2 is going to be yet.
That's Bobby hanging out in chat, and he says that my bet is he does pitch for the playoffs, and I know Bobby is locked in on this Dodgers, so he's probably more up to what's going on day to day for Ohtani. But yeah, I mean,
really?
I could see it. I could see it happening.
Oh, he does think he's going to pitch. Wow, cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I would love to see that.
Me too. I'm interested. Like, he hasn't pitched all year, and then if he comes in, how's he gonna perform? Right.
I think he's been awesome. Getting work in. So he hasn't officially, like, obviously pitched it in a game, but yeah, I think he's been getting some work in. It's not just like he's ramping up right now.
The playoffs, right?
Say it again.
It's not a game, and it's not the playoffs. Like, he's gonna step in and,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be. I mean, they certainly need him. And with last,
I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll definitely be an interesting watch.
And then all of a sudden, people are rooting for LA because I think people typically root against the Dodgers and the Yankees. Like, the haves and have-nots. I think typically people root against them, but we'll see. Certainly, it's hard to root against Ohtani. Anything else we should say as far as pitchers? I kind of floated out some of these other names here, Bobby. And if you're running 150, I'm not sure what you're doing today, but if you're in those streets, is a guy like Michael King in your pool?
No Michael King, but I think I could add Logan Webb versus Arizona. I think he makes a good bit of sense, but I'm not going too deep in pitching. So, like I said, it would be Ober, Framber, Eovaldi, Francis, Webb, and throw in Gilbert, Schwellenbacher too. Yeah.
Trying to see if there's any other names the chat wants us to talk about. I don't really see anybody else popping up in regards to the slate and ownership. We got a new batch a few minutes ago, I don't think I want to see if anything changed significantly. 33% Eovaldi. I don't really get the Eovaldi number. Tim, does that make sense to you? 33% for Eovaldi. I know it's Oakland. It's a good ballpark, whatever, but he's kind of old. It's been a long season.
He's number 2 raw points in our projections, number 1 raw points in Cardi's projection. He's got to get ownership. Maybe he's closer to like 28, but he's going to be pretty highly owned just because of his raw point potential.
I guess I'm just sort of like, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm just guessing that maybe he's gone for 5 innings. They don't push him too hard. But, I don't know that for sure. I have no idea. But like they are committed to him next year. They're going to be when he opts in, and he's old, and the season's long. So they're going.
That's why you don't want to play him, Dean.
Yeah. I mean, none of those things are things I know. He's old.
Dean's an age.
Yeah.
It's been.
I am an ageist.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the plate IQ stuff specific for their lineup today. There are a lot of strikeouts in that lineup. 24.4% collectively, but yeah, Rooker at 30. Langolier's 28, Geloff at 33. So, and he's Eovaldi pretty neutral as far as his splits, 24% both sides. Been hit harder this year by lefties. But, sure, you can do it. But I don't think that's my first pitcher. Yes, there I go, hating on old people. Hey, clue number two for an unprecedented first time ever. You're going to tell your grandkids the first time you saw Television Tuesday. The second clue for Television Tuesday, and I think we've confirmed it's not The Simpsons, Bobby. I'm pretty sure we've confirmed. Now, I'm not asking you to guess again necessarily. Just it's not The Simpsons. The second clue is precisely. So floater and precisely. Those are our first 2 clues. Answer in the Discord, and you get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you let me know first. Only one guess per clue. What TV show we are talking about.
It's definitely not a good one, I can assure you, because these clues don't make any sense.
I'm sorry. Well, Bobby, there's 5 in total. So maybe when it all comes together, it all makes sense for you. And I think that's possible. Maybe. I mean, I think you can do it. I think you can get there. I'm pretty sure. Certainly, Tim can get it without question. Going to talk a little bit of stats in a second. Before we do that, I do want to mention, if you're looking to take your game to the next level without breaking the bank, if you don't want to get full RG premium, check out Combo Lite. With this powerful product, you get access to all the tools you need to dominate your leagues. Sim tools, stat databases, expert advice, all in one place. The best part, it's designed for both casual players and serious competitors. Whether you're playing for fun or chasing that big cash prize, Combo Lite, it has you covered. Check out the links in our description for more information. SimLabs, of course, that is still a thing. I want to ask Tim if you ran the Sims. I'm sure you did. I'm curious if anything is popping from a pitching perspective, and I'm sure you'll let us know as far as hitters. Feel free to run that if you haven't already. Get that ready after I read this. The expert DFS lineup generation tool from RG and Fantasy Labs known as SimLabs just got even better. In addition to the desktop tool on the web, olds like me use that. You can now download the SimLabs mobile app from your app store. Use the power of DFS simulation in the palm of your hand. It's available for combo and single sport subs, or you can just buy it a la carte in the app store. Tim, what did the Sims say as far as pitchers? Anything kind of stand out to you?
Eovaldi getting 64% of Eovaldi in 150 setting. And then
I don't like that.
The one big surprise for me anyway was Logan Gilbert, like you guys are talking about against Houston, getting to 24%, over 30%, which I think is pretty normal. I was expecting that. Schwellenbach only 5%, Valdez only 5%. So it's really, Sims are really trying to pushing you to like the Eovaldi overbuild, and then Gilbert, and then some Gilbert. That's what I'm getting. And then in terms of teams, seems a little bit more straightforward for me. Minnesota's number one, St. Louis number two, like no shock there. Then some Rangers and some Giants. Yeah. So that's what I'm getting in Sims right now. I usually do a run now, and then I usually do like another run in like an hour.
We should have mentioned, we talked about him as being one of our favorite pitchers, Bailey Ober, the matchup against Miami. I mean, it's the 6th month of the season. The people know we're in the last week. They know the Marlins stink. The lineup specifically today, there's a few contact guys there in Bride and Edwards. Not a lot of punch there for Edwards, but he will make contact. Lopez makes contact, but again, very punchless. 1.51, 151 ISO, which is pretty brutal. 23.6% as far as K. So there are guys, Derek Hill, Stowers, Sanchez, Burger Time, Norby. So there are some, there's lots of guesses going on. Yeah, there one guess per clue, even in the, if you're going to flood the YouTube, even if you get it right, eventually you can just land on the right answer. It's just how that works, but it would not be an official guess, unfortunately. But, all right. Bobby, anything else would you say as far as pitchers, or shall we move on and talk about some hitters?
I think it's very interesting that the Sims are fading Framber Valdez, looks like. So
I don't like that.
Yeah, I like it. You're taking Jordan out. Mariners get a little fight left. I don't know if Framber's got the gumption, to close the door. So I don't mind.
He doesn't have the will to win.
I don't mind Eovaldi. Yeah. I think they're interesting pivots.
Did somebody bet you to work gumption into the show? Is that what happened? Do you have like a word of the day calendar or something? I like it. I'm embracing it. I like gumption. Well, how did that weasel its way in here?
I don't know. I've been working on my vocabulary, Dean.
I don't know if that's the correct way to use it per se, but I still liked it. I feel like you're like going for like guile, possibly, even though that was right. But yeah. Tim, do you know who has the gumption to win today? Anything else you want to say as far as pitchers before we talk about some stats?
No, I think I've pretty much covered pitching. I mean, it's definitely over. Then it's possibly Eovaldi, possibly Brandon Pfaadt. Valdez is fine in my opinion. And then I like two of these cheap guys, Cannon and Kohonowitz. So I like both of those guys in the 6K range. So yeah, but I mean, Ober is definitely my favorite overall pitcher in any format.
Are you willing to play like in a single entry, like the 121 or something like that? Are you willing to play one of those cheapies if it makes everything else work for you?
I am thinking about it. I would be willing to.
I'm thinking about it too. I don't know if I feel great about it, but
see, the thing is like this double 8K range is really, really good. So if I can still get exposure to the stack that I want going like Ober Fott or something like that, then I won't fool around with those 6K guys. But I'll have to see.
It's yellow, by the way, in Chicago. I'll go ahead and drop Ross weather report in the chat. Let me give it a refresh. It's possible he might have updated it and it's changed. Last I saw, it's yellow-green. If you hit refresh, as of a half hour ago, whatever it was, a few spotty showers. Doubt we see anything heavy enough to stop play. Yellow-orange in Washington, but we don't care about that game. That is on the 6:40 slate. Okay, let's talk stacks. Before we do that, we got to do our tiers. Maybe we can go ahead and drop clue number 3 as well. We have all sorts of things going on. Clue number 3 for the people, again, Television Tuesday. Clue number 1 is floater. Clue number 2 is precisely. And then clue number 3 is nay. Nay. Floater, precisely, nay.
These clues are getting worse and worse every week. Every week. You're not a man of people at all. This is tough. This is tough stuff.
I promise you that somebody is going to get this correct. So I'm going to be the man of a person. One person who will be appreciative. And again, these aren't, we're not. This isn't the participation trophy, Bobby. I do appreciate the participation, but you got to get it right. You got to use the brain hole. It's tricky, but maybe it'll all come together. It'll all make sense in the end. I see some guesses coming in here on the live stream chat channel. If you guys aren't aware, fire up your guesses in the live stream chat channel. One guess per clue. Let me know what movie we are talking about. And Tim also saying, I hate the people in chat. I like how it's so passive aggressive to not say it to my face, but you type it in the chat.
I'll say it to your face. You hate the people, Dean.
I'm right here,
I didn't want to interrupt the ad read,
He's hitting all the spots today, by the way. He hasn't missed one. Late season MLB.
We're checking all the boxes for sure. It's the last week of the season. Okay, so today's tiers board, we had Tim make today's tiers board. You thought it was too soon. You wanted to do some, and I was trying to encourage it, but you backed off, which is fine. You made the board. I was hoping you would do Halloween candy, but maybe we'll save that for another time. But then you just went candy in general, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
So have the chat tell us. See, I don't know. Candy it gets a little too broad for the ones you put up there, but it's your board. So chat, tell us.
This is a tough list, if I'm being honest.
I thought we were doing the list.
Not a list for me.
I didn't love the list either, but I was just happy Tim did it. So
you said this. You think this is not a list?
It's
what is it?
It is not a list I would agree with.
Well, that's fine, but it's still a list.
Well, TJ wants like those ketchup flavored chips in there. Of course, I'm sure he's lobbying for those.
He wants something. He wants something Canadian, is what he wants.
Well, yeah, Dave. I don't know if you know that, but the Canadians love ketchup flavored chips. It's like the number one selling chip in Canada, give or take. Maybe TJ can confirm or deny.
Terrible.
It's a chip that they sell in Canada. I don't think it's the number one flavored chip by any means.
But like that's when you cross the border, it's like I guess
don't you guys not have dill pickle either.
So yeah, dill pickle I think is more Canada too, but you can't get them in America.
That's far more popular than ketchup chip.
Really? Okay,
yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah,
I knew it was a Canadian thing also, but not as prevalent. You can find them. You might have to go to an extra Publix or two. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I mean Bobby's great. Bobby's like, yeah, I don't have anything for the board, but I can sit back and criticize it. So go ahead, Bobby, sit back and criticize it. Tell Tim why he's wrong.
First of all, I thought we were doing the list that I had originally suggested, which would have been.
Well, you never made a list.
we never actually got the list from you, Bobby.
We never actually got it, and I didn't want it. We never actually got it. You didn't take the time to make it, and it still would not have. It would have been halted.
And this is the part where we need to mute Bobby's mic really quickly.
There was almost a dill pickle joke that I had, and I just kept that to myself just to
save those for your Discord conversations with Kirkwood.
Yeah, Milk Duds has to be really, really high, a lot higher on this list. Like,
oh,
wow,
I'm a big Milk Duds guy. There's no Cadbury bar. Have you Cadbury milk chocolate? You guys know Cadbury bar in Florida?
Oh yeah, I've had that before.
Also, the Hershey's chocolate bar is terrible. Like I can't believe that's
Hershey's chocolate bar is not good. It is not good.
No,
the only one that's actually decent is the cookies and cream one. Although the rest is trash.
Ooh.
That's it.
I don't
Snickers,
like the
I don't like.
Dean has never been more correct in his entire life.
Reese's
TJ, finally.
Reese's cups are just disgusting.
Stacy, by the way, likes the list. So one person likes the list, Tim. So there you go.
A lot of people liked my number one choice, though. I got
Reese's is the chalk.
Yeah,
but I don't consider it candy. I consider it chocolate.
Wait, why do people? I don't like Reese's cups at all.
That's a bad take. It's a bad take.
We should really mute Bobby's mic.
It should be one by far.
What should be one? Milk Duds?
Yeah.
The Zero Bar is getting some love in chat. No Butterfingers. Are you just not a nut guy, Tim? Is that why the payday's at the bottom?
I can't. I don't like it with like the caramel and the consistency. It's just all bad in my eyes.
Joke number 2 I passed up on that could have got me fired. The nut comment.
It's right there. TJ, by the way, putting his list in chat. This is so Canadian. What is a Wonder Bar? Wonder Bar? Wonder Bar. WN like Wonderkind.
And he put 6 up there. He's cheating.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
What's a coffee crisp? Is this like an all Canadian board? Mr. Big? Is that still in existence? Is that still
joke number 3?
Mine isn't a tier list. People were just talking about their favorite things, so I put my favorite chocolate bars.
Do you know a lot of these are not very popular in America? Which is fine, But did you know this or no? I've never. What's a Wonder Bar?
Did you say Juno because he's Canadian and not do you know?
Did you know like Alaska? Is that the reference you're making?
Alaskan.
Alaska's an American part.
I always see the hockey player Joey Juno. Remember for the Capitals way back in the day.
I do remember the name. I'm sure Tim.
That's a Wonder Bar.
What is the main ingredient of a Wonder Bar?
It's like peanut butter, chocolate, and caramel all mixed together.
Do the people in chat know what a Wonder Bar is? Do you guys know what it is? Is it just me?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I disagree with all of TJ's.
You don't know what a coffee crisp is?
No, I don't think so.
We don't have these. We don't have these in America.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Do.
No, we don't. I haven't seen it in my local 7-Eleven. I frequent there twice a day for the last 35 years.
Either way,
7-Eleven twice a day
agree,
for what?
Chats can agree with me that Twix are all delicious.
Spectacular. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Twix are good. They could have made
so coffee crisp is a variation of a Twix, you're saying?
No. Coffee crisp is not a Twix at all, but Twix is just delicious, is what I was saying.
Shannon says it looks like a whatchamacallit.
Twix should be on the list. Milky Way.
Spectacular.
I don't know how he missed the Milky Way.
Well, what do you mean you don't know how? You can only list 5 things. You're going to miss a whole bunch of things. It's just a math game, Bobby.
I do have one chocolate that people are going to not like me for liking, and I like the 100 grands.
Well, they're fine, right? What's
a lot of it? They get a lot of bad. They get a lot of heat.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot. I didn't know that there was a big
the candy
of people. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't realize there's a lot of people that have hot takes on the 100 grand. All right. Yeah. So the one I had the biggest issue was the Hershey. The Hershey chocolate bar is just terrible. But anyways, so Captain America Bleeds in chat is giving an official guess. Again, we're gonna need you to jump in the Discord if that is your official guess. The facts of life on today's Television Tuesday.
Kirkwood
Do we have an
texted
answer?
me a guess. Kirkwood texted me a guess. He said Brokeback Mountain.
No, it's Television Tuesday. Does he know that?
Yeah, but you said movies prior, so you could have switched it up.
He's not paying attention. Okay, we have 20 teams to throw in, on the board. We're going to do that in just a second. We should go ahead and drop the fourth clue. This is par, by the way. I thought par was like 3.5. So maybe we'll see if somebody gets it now. Previous clues: floater, precisely, nay, baby horse, floater, precisely, nay, baby horse. Those are our 4 clues. Let me know. And Devin, producer Devin, they were working so hard. The marketing team, we were this close to getting a Wonder Bar sponsorship, and it's out the window now. And Payday just called and they canceled. Unfortunately, that's we were this close to getting a Payday sponsorship. All right, Tim, you did win the coin toss backstage. Very first game today, Dean Kramer taking on Clark Schmidt, 8.5 total. The Yankees do have a team total close to 5, one of the biggest totals on the board. Where do you have the Yankees against Baltimore? Baltimore is basically in, some really goofy math stuff has to work against them to not make the playoffs. Not officially in, for what it's worth. Tim, where are we throwing Baltimore and New York?
Yeah, I actually like the Yankees quite a bit, and I don't think they're really popping in optimizers that much. So I'm going to put them in the Snickers tier. Baltimore, under 4 implied team total. Schmidt's been pretty good lately. So, and Baltimore's pretty expensive as well. So I'm going to put the Orioles in the milk duds category.
You have Orioles and milk duds. Where did you say you're putting the Yankees? I apologize. I misheard that.
Snickers.
All right. Well, I'll let Bobby go, and then I'll jump in here. Bobby, what do you got? I know it's not officially on the board just yet. TJ, I'm sure, is multitasking. He'll throw them on there in a second. We currently have Yankees in Snickers, and Baltimore is in milk duds.
I'm going to put Baltimore in Hershey's chocolate bar and leave Yankees in Snickers. I like the Yankees as well. For Hershey's chocolate bar, why I like Baltimore, Gunnar Henderson. Just love to play Gunnar Henderson. And Schmidt was showing up, right? Like we had Schmidt for ownership. I think you play some Baltimore stacks, secondaries at least.
All right. Well, nobody put the Yankees where I want to put them, but that's just the way it is. I want to put them in Reese's Cups. They're my favorite team today. Kramer is a perfectly fine pitcher, but nobody has a higher walk rate on the slate, 9.2%. He gives up a ton of fly balls. The Yankees, the current iteration of this Yankee team, is the best ISO versus righties, best WRC plus versus righties, and the highest walk rate versus righties. So I'm just kind of betting on walk homer, 6-0 New York, and then we get to that bullpen at some point too. And they are my favorite team on the board. They're kind of expensive, of course.
I really like that, Dean. I mean, I really do like the Yankees.
Way to score some brownie points before the final vote here.
No, I'm going to keep them in Snickers, but I do really like that call by Dean.
I'll leave them in Snickers. I don't need a brown nose.
Well, this is why you wonder why I choose against you. And like, if I ever need a tiebreaker, I remember moments like this. so that's just how this goes. Bobby, you're up now. Boston, Toronto, Bowden Francis taking on Brian Bayo. Again, no Devers for Baltimore. I assume he's done for the year. I think they threw him on the IL, or pretty sure he's done so for the season. Where do we have Bowden Francis and Brian Bayo?
I'm going to throw the Sox in milk duds and Toronto. I'll also throw Toronto in milk duds. Don't really want to get much of either team currently.
So you have Toronto and Boston both in milk duds, correct?
Yep.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm going to put the Boston in the payday category and leave Toronto in the milk dud category. I have absolutely no interest in this Boston lineup. I really like Bowden Francis today.
I kind of like some of the lefties here, so I like a mini for Boston. So against my better judgment, I'm going to agree with Tim. With Bobby. So Bobby, it's a point for Bobby.
You're already ready to agree with Tim. You're already ready.
Just it's my immediate reaction. I'm not really thinking about it. But Yeah, I mean, Jaron Duran has been one of the best hitters in baseball this season against righties. Francis has been vulnerable to lefties. Casas is, I mean, the Duran, Casas, you know, Yoshida stack. There's no O'Neill in there as well, you know, so it's tough to like a full Boston stack, but I do like a mini. By the way, TJ just mentioning more. I don't know if he's doing it now just to push buttons. Look at the names. He says no Kinder Surprise. I think I've seen that before, but I don't think that's really prevalent in America. And what is that? A Nanamo bar? What is that? And then he says crushed sodas. Like sodas? why would sodas
I
be
was
on the
just
board?
looking at this list. I was saying Google's trying to tell me all these things don't exist in the States. And I'm just,
okay.
like shocked on all of these. Like, you guys don't have Smarties?
We have Smarties. No, we have Smarties. I think I haven't looked for them, but I'm pretty sure they're still a thing.
Well,
And
we have crushed soda.
we have Kinder Egg
with a toy in the middle.
I mean, I feel like I've seen that before. I thought, isn't it a
It's
bar?
the
I don't know what
coffee
the Joe
shop,
Louis bar is. That Joe Louis thing that just popped up. I don't know what that is. I mean, I'm aware of the boxer, but I don't know what the Joe Louis bar is. But I'm sure it's all spectacular. Yeah, TJ still can't get over it. We don't have a big Turk.
Limo bars. They're delicious. They're incredibly. I just bought them today at Costco.
Oh, those are the things that are at Starbucks, right? They're popular at Starbucks.
Maybe, I don't know. I didn't know you guys don't have them.
I think they're popular at Starbucks. Somebody in chat, feel free to confirm. Okay, Bobby. Luke says the Big Turk. What is the Big Turk?
I don't know. That's not something I've ever actually had before.
Okay, that's just like in Winnipeg or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mets taking on the Braves, a game that actually matters. 7.5 total. Luis Severino taking on Schwellenbach. Bobby, this is your board.
It's not my board. It's Tim's board.
Oh, it is Tim's board. You are correct. Tim, what do you got?
I really don't really like either one of these teams. Schwellenbach's really good against righties. So I'm going to put the Mets in milk duds. I have a little bit of faith in the Braves. I don't mind their price tags either. They're at home, over 4 implied team total. I guess I'd put Atlanta in Hershey's chocolate bar.
Bobby?
We're the same. I like Matt Olson for the Braves today. Hershey's chocolate bar. I don't love them, but I tagged him in lineup HQ. And then Mets, just no interest in really rostering the Mets, but they're fine for milk duds if you think Schwellenbach or if they get to Schwellenbach. So, yeah, milk duds.
Are you a little annoyed that Albies is not switch hitting? I'm a little bit concerned by that. And I much prefer lefties versus Severino as well. He's like 3-1 on FanDuel, so he's got a regular price over there. I think he's 2.9 actually over there. He's got a nice price over there. I don't know. Am I making too much of that?
I would rather him be switch hitting as well.
Yeah. Obviously not saying you can't play him, but just I guess worth pointing out. Any more lineups coming on through? Nope, still no St. Louis. Keeping an eye on when all right, we'll let you guys know. But it's been a while since you've had a new lineup drop on us. You guys agreed, so we'll move on. Angels, White Sox, loser leaves town match here. We have Cannon taking on Kachanowicz. There's some cheap pieces here. I think that's the best argument. Also, I think Weather Edge liked this game, at least earlier today. Let's give that a refresh. Earlier in the day, Weather Edge was a fan. I'll go ahead and throw this to Bobby, and I'll confirm or deny where it's at Weather Edge-wise as of right now. What do you got, Bobby, as far as the Angels and the White Sox?
White Sox and payday immediately. And then I think the Angels you can put in for the like I tagged Nolan Chanel. You can put them in milk duds.
So 68 previous games. It's not a monster sample. It is 65 as far as the temp, but the dew's at 62. And it's 10 miles per hour. When it comes to the winds, they're blowing basically dead center, right center. We've seen a bump in home runs at 24.4% in that circumstance. In 68 previous games, they bump in runs in 10%. And most of these guys, with the exception of Taylor Ward, are pretty cheap. Robert as well. I think there's interesting pieces here. You tell me, Tim, do we agree or disagree with Bobby?
I mostly agree. I'm actually this is a really hard game for me to think about because I don't mind either pitcher, but I also don't mind stacking against them either. So the thing is that the Angels are actually getting some ownership, which I don't like. But I think I'm still going to move each team up one. So Angels and Hershey's and White Sox and Milk Duds.
That is kind of where I'm at too. I don't want to play these guys, but I'm willing to play these guys. So I'm going to agree with Tim. And that's 2 points. That's 2 points for Tim. That's a sweep of the board there. By the way, Brandon Rogers was just scratched.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
No worries. We just both saw the same thing. Did see a note that Austin Riley is not going to return this season as well with his hand. It doesn't really matter for us today, but if you're a Braves fan, that's killed any hope of that. Okay, let's move forward. It's going to be Tim. This is yours. The Marlins. The Marlins taking on the really, really chalky Twins. Twins have a 5 total monster favorites, minus 250, barely over on the bump against the terrible Marlins. Ryan Weathers on the other side, the lefty Ryan Weathers, which is worth noting because we've already kind of speculated. Minnesota 50-50 shot at this point to make the playoffs. They're doing everything they can to win. If a righty comes in, it might be bye Margot. It might be bye Farmer. Those aren't the only two, but those are the two biggest pinch hit risks in my estimation. And I think the bat will confirm. You tell me, Tim, where do we have the Marlins and the Twins?
Marlins are definitely in payday for me. I think the Twins, just because of pinch hit risk, have to go in Snickers. I'd like to put them in Reese's, but can't quite do it. I almost think Minnesota's better used as a 3-man stat than a 5-man stat just because of the pinch hit risk. But certainly can't blame people if they want to go 5-man.
All right. I'm pulling it up right now. By the way, I'm trying to see what the bat has to say about it as far as pinch hit risk. And 48% for Farmer and 42% for Margot. Miranda was the third guy I was thinking about, 19%. So just, doesn't mean you can't do it. But, right, Wallner is on that bench. Larnack is on that bench. Those guys are really, really good against righties. And every at-bat matters when you're trying to get W's and you're trying to make the playoffs. So I'm just really concerned that and Weathers is not a guy that might not pitch deep. So, again, we could see a righty on the mound third time around for Margot. And Margot is getting pinch hit for in the 5th or 6th inning. Not trying to be paranoid, but just that seems like a realistic scenario. What do you got, Bobby? We on board with Tim? Any issues?
Marlins in payday. And then I'm going to go the Twins and Reese's Cups. I know the 3-mans, you're worried about pinch hits, but Royce Lewis is my favorite bat on the slate. Sims say I can play Twins 5-man, so I'm going to go with the Sims over Tim's big brain. And, and Reese's Cups, and I'm going to lose again because Dean wants to agree with the stacking.
Wait, you said Minnesota and Reese's Cup, right? Is that what you said? That's where they're at.
No, put them in Snickers.
Oh, you know what? I do agree with Tim because I'm a little bit paranoid about the players getting the hook. But I understand why you'd put them up there, to be fair. Rocky Raccoon is telling me, by the way, the Discord channel, that we don't have Smarties here because I guess in the U.S. because it's a choking hazard. You're not allowed to have toys sealed in food. So the U.S. ones aren't fully sealed. Okay, so it's a different version of Smarties. All right, fair enough. We learn new things. And I was checking out the Discord because I wanted to see if anybody guessed
Kinder
today.
Surprise he was talking about. Kinder Surprise have the toys in the middle of the egg.
Oh, that's two different things. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there we go. I've
seen Kinder Cups or whatever.
I thought I have too. Is that a recent banning?
That must be what he's talking about. It's different because they must not be fully sealed or separated so you can see it or something. The ones we have in here are just a fully enclosed chocolate egg, and then in the middle there are toys.
We still don't have a winner for Tournament Tuesday. This is the longest we've ever gone.
Clues ever. These clues are so bad.
Maybe you're not even thinking about it. You're just reacting and saying they stink without even trying to use your brain.
I don't watch TV. We don't do TV in the house anymore because of the kids. No screens.
You don't throw the kids in front of the TV for a couple hours to keep them busy?
No.
They're probably not watching this show.
Doesn't allow it. I would be all for it, but girlfriend doesn't allow it.
I don't know who am I to tell people how to parent? All right. So the last clue, and again, this is the longest we've ever gone for Television Tuesday. That's without somebody actually guessing it. We're in the 5th clue. I have a 6th one if needed. Floater, precisely, nay, baby horse, central. Central is the last clue. Lots of guesses, though. Lots of guesses, a lot of participation. T. Carter saying the leftovers. Gregorius saying only murders in the building. Rocky Raccoon was guessing Yellowstone. Graybill guessing Walker, Texas Ranger. Spectacularly hilarious TV show, but no, it is not Walker, Texas Ranger. We do have a winner. We have 2 people that guessed it at the same exact time. All right, we'll let the people think about it a little bit longer.
How do we break the tie if they guess it at the same exact time?
Well, whoever guessed, whoever name is in front of the other, that's just how that works, I mean, it's not, basically the same time. The guesses just came down. But okay, back to our stacks. Crunch time coming in about 15 minutes or so. Plenty of time for that. We knocked out the Marlins in Minnesota. It's Seattle and Houston. This is Bobby's board. It's down to a 7 total. Do I have closing line value? Is it down to a 7? Gilbert versus Valdez. No. Yordan Alvarez. I do not have any hitters in this game. I'm hoping for a lot of strikeouts and pop-outs and things of that sort. Bobby, where do we have the Mariners and the Astros?
Houston and Payday going against Framber. And then Seattle, I'll put in Milk Duds just for the leverage off of Valdez for individual bats.
I'm going to go with Houston, Milk Duds. I'm going to go Seattle in Payday.
So it's the reverse of what I had.
I want them both in the bottom. I'm going to throw them both in the bottom. So I'm going to agree with, I'm splitting the difference. There you go. I'm overriding both.
We did get a Cardinals lineup, and it's the only change is Herrera's in for Pajes.
Okay. Yeah. Wynn, Burleson, Goldie, Arenado, Donovan Herrera, Bar, Walker, and then Ciani. That is your Cardinals. That is the next game. So that works out. Tim, this is your board. McGreevy taking on Ryan Feltner, 10.5 total, biggest total on the board. Both teams have a team total above 5 because Vegas is telling us it's basically 50-50, minus 115 on the St. Louis side. Where do we have the Cardinals and the Rockies, Tim?
I mean, both of these teams, in my opinion, should be in Reese Cups. I think they're both in fantastic spots. Both of these starting pitchers are pretty horrible. The prices are actually pretty decent on St. Louis. I know they're going to be chalky, but I really like them. So I'm going to put both teams in Reese Cups.
Bobby?
Both teams in Reese Cups. Ryan McMahon to hit a dinger. I had him in lineup HQ.
Is that a Bobby bomb for the people before we're even prompting it? You're just giving them out for free. We're giving them out.
That's a Bobby bomb. Yep.
All right. Let's move on. Let's see, about 3 games to go. It'll be in about 10-ish, 15 minutes, depending on when crunch time knocks on the door. They'll be here momentarily. You may have time for some questions, comments, whatever's on your mind there in chat. Do appreciate, for real. What do you got, TJ?
I'm excited to hear the reasoning behind the clues because I only understood one of the 4, and it's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Okay, well, I think you should know at least 2 of them. Well, here, I'll go ahead and explain it now. You want to explain it? I'll explain it now, TJ. Clue number 1 is float. So what I'm not gonna give it to you. This is kind of a clue to a clue, but clue number 1 is floater. Floater is like another word, like somebody floats somebody some money. You give them a loan. And a place you get a loan is at a pawn shop sometimes. It's kind of sort of a loan. It's a different way of saying a loan. Like sometimes you go back and get it, and sometimes you don't. But floater, you can float somebody some money. Precisely. When you say precisely, it's almost like saying literally. This is it's literally Tasteful Tides. It's literally Bobby Gomes in this show. We're literally talking about baseball. Nay is another way of saying no, nay, or nope, like Leslie, nope. 4 is a baby horse. If you're a fan of this show, and you should be, you're aware of not the most popular character, but a beloved character. We actually lost this character too soon we wrote a song about it. We said bye-bye to little Sebastian, who was a baby horse. And then 5, which was the giveaway, was little Sebastian an adult? Well, it's still a baby horse. TJ, that's the technicality that you have an issue. It's a little tiny little horse.
That is the only clue I got, but I was like, he's still even not a baby horse.
What television? I still don't know what television.
Parks and Recreation.
Okay,
you should watch it. Watch it
It's
with
fantastic.
it's a spectacular show. The first season's power through the first season until it's going to find its footing at some point.
why not just start it at the second season if you just told me not to watch?
You kind of can. I think you kind of can. I think you can start the second season. But TJ, come back. How did you not get precisely and literally? Like that's like a whole. That's this is one of your favorite shows, and then Leslie Knope is the main character.
Yeah, nay and precise. How am I supposed to get literally from precisely and
precisely?
nay?
They're synonyms. Precisely and literally is the same thing. You're saying the same thing.
So what?
And Central,
it's still not to do with the show. It's just a synonym of a word that I don't know.
Should I say literally and then have everybody guess it on 2?
That'd be a great clue 5. That'd be a great clue 5.
And nay is just like nope. And I like the whole tie.
I mean, I did get it, but what's Central? I still don't know what Central is. Is it in Central Indiana?
I know you're not an American, but the most popular park in America is Central Park, Parks and Rec.
Okay.
You've heard of Central Park in New York? It might be the most popular park in the world.
But that I don't know. I just still don't.
It's literally a setup for like the name of the show, Central Park. That's where people started getting it. Tim, you have a thought on this, or you don't care?
Really bad clues, Dean. Horrible.
Oh, you're answering your question from a half. You're answering the question from a half hour ago.
I love the chat. The chat. I'm not even looking at the chat.
You're getting blasted in the chat, Dean. By the way,
I can just envision the chat right now, just taking their shots at Dean for these terrible clues, and I love it.
Well, who's not blasting me is D-Rock, because D-Rock got it on the 5th clue, and D-Rock, used his brain and figured it out. And then right below D-Rock was Gregorius the Wise, who just missed it. Good effort. So, like, again, these are gettable. I'm not going to put it on the silver platter, but I didn't think this was that tough. I didn't think it was that tough. And TJ got it. He had all 5 right in front of him.
It took him till the 5th clue. He says it's his favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
It's a really great show.
He's a connoisseur.
Great show, and Dean has ruined it now.
Television and movies. Got it
ruined the show.
Favorite show of all time. It doesn't make any sense.
This might be the first and last time we do television news.
Just say that they're bad clues.
I mean, it's been 5 years. You need an assistant. 5. What did I miss for the 5 years for what? I don't get the point that person was making. But all right, if somebody wants to make the clues for me, by all means. We can definitely.
I had a great list.
Oh, we did not. First, you never made your list, and nobody wanted to see your list. We were not going to present
possible city co-defendants.
Yes. San Fran, Arizona, 8.5 is the total. Logan Webb taking on Brandon Fott. My apologies, I forget who. I think it's Bobby. This is you, right? You're leading off here. San Fran taking on Arizona. Brandon Fott, Logan Webb, revenge game, number 72 for Logan Webb. Where do we have the Diamondbacks and the Giants?
Put San Fran in Hershey's chocolate. Total moves a little bit. And Arizona Diamondbacks in Milk Duds.
Tim?
I'm going to go the Giants in Payday and Arizona Diamondbacks in Milk Duds.
So the same, right? Right?
No.
TJ likes the Giants a little higher, I'd say.
Bob, you put them in the Hershey category. I put them in the Payday category.
Oh, yeah. So Payday. Yeah, Giants and Payday. Come on.
Yeah.
Why do you have the Giants in the middle, Bobby?
Implied total moved up a little, Dean, and we don't have a lot of good stacks on the slate. So, yeah, I'll go with
You are a big implied total guy.
Yeah.
We got Dave Potts, by the way, coming in shortly, as well as Kevin Roth and Will, the Chief, in about 5-10 minutes or so for crunch time. There's 2 games to go. Texas taking on Oakland, giving a refresh. I don't think we have. Oh, we do. Okay, we have every lineup with the exception of San Diego. Eovaldi taking on Mitch Spence. This is Tim's board. Tough ballpark, obviously 7.5 total. The Sims like Eovaldi. Texas barely a favorite here, -115. Where do we have the? Again, this is the last series ever in the Oakland Coliseum, so do factor that in here, Tim. Where do we have the Rangers and the Athletics?
Still going to put Oakland in payday. I mean, Mitch Spence is decent. This Rangers team is just, I don't know, so bad now. I'm going to put the Rangers in, I guess, Milk Duds. Pretty close to payday, though.
Bobby?
Yeah, my last run on the Sims, Texas was hitting it pretty hard. I'll put the Athletics in payday, and I go Texas and Snickers.
I don't understand why both you guys put Oakland in payday. Like, we're talking about leverage stuff. I know leverage is not sometimes an overused thing, but if Eovaldi's going to be the most popular pitcher on the board, and there's power bats for Oakland, look, I have no power to move it. You guys both put him in payday, but that's I just think Oakland deserves better. Is all I'm saying. But TJ's moving it. I don't know if I swayed him. He's shuffling around, but you guys both said in the gutter. So
I agreed with you, Dean. So I'm vetoing it with you. We're going in Milk Duds.
Did you have any other takes, TJ, as far as the slate? I don't know if you dug in.
No, I didn't. I didn't dive in. I just agree with what you said.
No, thank you. That's twice now, by the way. I think that's a record. I'm pretty sure.
That's why you got to trust me when I say those clues were terrible, because I will compliment you when you're right.
Leslie, nope, nay, same thing. Right on the nose. All right, San Diego and the Dodgers. No standing lineup just yet, but Knack is vulnerable to the lefties here. I think Tatis. Well, I should just throw it to you guys. Bobby, this is your board. Landon Knack taking on Mike King. Shohei Ohtani is now 7-5, which is bonkers, but kind of worth it, I guess. Maybe he's going to hit more homers and hit more, swipe more bags. You tell me. Where do we have the Dodgers and the Padres?
So the Padres, I'm going to put in Hershey's chocolate bar, and the Dodgers, I'm going to put in Snickers.
I'm going to put. I'm definitely putting the Padres in Snickers, and then I'm going to put both teams in Snickers.
Both teams in Snickers, and so you had the Padres. Where are they at? Am I not seeing them in the? Oh, okay. So where are they at before? I want to see if I'm making a decision. I would put them in Snickers as well. Is that where?
There's a lot of favoritism going on in the show. I'm just going to say, calling it out.
I'm just staring.
There's a lot of favoritism.
Tim has been equally mean to me in this show, so why would I favor Tim? Like, I don't know why you would assume that I'm favoring Tim, because he's been just as cruel to me. I did see a funny comment, by the way, from Hoosiers Hang Banners. So he likes to text the clues to his mom, and his mom was really mad at me too, which is pretty funny. I was going to, since the show takes place in Pawnee, Indiana, not a real city, by the way. I was going to have some kind of Indiana tie-in. But I did go against it the last second. I was going to say Hoosier, but I thought that'd be too on the nose and too obvious. But I probably, he would have probably took it down, I imagine. Here is our final board. Hey, get your homer calls ready. Tim, you have the taters on layaway. I know the taters went on fire. Bobby, you've already given the people at least one Bobby bomb. The official board here, just two teams up top in Reese's Cups. That's St. Louis and Colorado. Snickers, it's the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Padres, and Twins. We have Hershey's with Atlanta, the Angels, and Texas. Milk Duds is loaded. Baltimore, Toronto, a bunch of nonsense here. Boston, the Mets, the White Sox. Oh, Oakland, the executive decision from TJ and Arizona. All the way at the bottom, it is both teams taking on the Aces there in Houston. That's Seattle and Houston. The Marlins, as always, take their rightful spot, and the Giants are down there as well. Bobby, give me a homer. Give me a Bobby bomb or two. What do you have for the people?
I said Ryan McMahon earlier. I'm going to stay with Ryan McMahon for my first stinger, and the second I'm going to go is Fernando Tatis.
I like the Tatis call for sure. Tim, see those and raise them. You usually don't put out a bunch of taters, but they've been super efficient of late. What do you have today? How many taters do we have, and who are they?
Just 2 today. I got Ryan Jeffers at 470. If you have BetMGM, he's plus 570 at BetMGM.
Woo.
And then Taylor Ward is plus 460 on FanDuel.
I do like both of those as well. Crunch Time is knocking on the door. We have Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood. We have Will as well. And additionally, we have Kevin Roth, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Let's see if anything is happening in the weather streets. Last I saw, pretty clean. But let's see. Roth can verbalize it for us right now. I don't know if you guys saw the board or not, but that was Tim's takes for, he called it snacks or candy or what was the official category?
It was just candy.
Candy.
That was the perfect like main list of candy. You know,
I don't know what that means, Bobby. What are you trying to say?
They don't have anything extravagant in Maine. You know, they give you all.
You only get certain things up there.
You only get certain things up there. There's only like 6 people, anyways. So.
Yeah, well, you know, it's it doesn't make any sense to ship anything up there. You're only going to sell 1 or 2, I suppose.
Yeah,
that's how that goes. Roth, how are things in your world? Everything good?
Yeah, things are good. Good to be back. Shout out to TJ for jumping on and covering for me for a few days.
And weather-wise, I did mention before, I guess everything's good, right? 640 games, possibly something dicey out there. The games we don't really care about. Is that what it is?
Yeah, as long as you tell me we actually don't care about those 640 games for any sort of slate, then I think we're in pretty good shape.
There's a 4-game slate.
We want to challenge you a little bit. So
the Washington game is going to challenge me. I realize most people don't care, but I think they probably briefly late start, play the game, and finish in the rain. But that could go a postpone if they don't want to do all that. So we'll see.
You've been coasting this last month or so, whatever it is, Roth. Have we at least had some challenges like for college football and then goofy out there in the college streets?
No,
not yet.
It's been great. Yeah, it's been awesome.
We need to make it tough for Roth.
I'm good. Just close out the end of the season nice and easy. It's been pretty excellent.
Here's how you make weather tough for Roth. Give him weather during an NBA game like we got a few years ago at that Minnesota fiasco. Those are the best.
Pelicans. Yeah, the Pelicans.
Pelicans.
Yeah,
the Smoothie King Center, I believe is. If an arena is going to have a hole in the roof, by the way, the 1-1 in my draft is the Smoothie King Center. Is the one the arena that's going to have a hole in the roof.
What did the Minnesota one? Didn't like the court freeze or something? That was like unbelievable.
Oh, with the hockey team playing the night before or something like that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it's too slippery.
Yeah, it was crazy. Weather for NBA. Gotta love it.
Yeah, and there was that one, Roth, you were talking about football-wise. Did it ever rain in Houston?
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
that was disappointing. But there still is no panel on the roof of the Houston Stadium, so we could get a rain out there at any point.
The hurricane knocked it off. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think it was the derecho actually, but yes, wind knocked it off, and they have not been able to repair it in like over a month.
Well, hopefully they get that figured out soon enough. Myself, Tim, Bobby, both you guys are already zoned out. So, we're signing off. We're getting out of here. This is the last show for Baseball Wise for the People's Show, I believe. I don't think we're on the schedule the rest of the season. So fun ride for sure. Everybody in the chat, appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Do hit that like button, do subscribe. Baseball's not going away, but just this iteration of the three of us. On Tuesdays, of course, you can catch us on Sundays. Talk a little bit football, a lot of banter there as well. 9:30 in the morning, taking you guys all the way up to lock. Myself, Tim, Bobby, do appreciate you watching the first portion. Do hit that like button, do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Do not go anywhere because you have 45 minutes of baseball talk starting right now. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, as always, and congratulations on a great season. I don't know what they think they're doing here, just quitting a week ahead of the season. Geez, what's that all about?
Leaving right now, then. I mean, if we just do that.
If they're not doing it, we're not doing it. What is that? That's some nonsense. Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood in the house. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Just a few more slates of this, and then you can get rid of me for a while. It'll be a welcome sight to not have me on here bothering you.
You'll be cleaning up in the NHL streets and the Call of Duty streets and everything else. But no, I always enjoy baseball season. I enjoy kind of hanging out with some different faces. You being one that I typically don't get to see during NBA. So it has been fun. It will continue to be fun because, as far as I'm aware, we still have crunch times, right?
At least through Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not done yet. And then we got Will Priester. We got the Chief in the house. What up, Chief?
Nothing much, man. Doing good. Glad to come on. I'm always glad to come on with my good friend Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, and do a show with him. And I think this might actually be me and Dave's last show this season. I probably should look at the schedule, but I think we're getting close.
Yeah,
So I got to savor this moment, and then after the season is over, Dave and I go work on our album, our RG album, coming a crunch time near you.
I approve of that. We did have someone in the chat. A couple things. Aaron says, Roth, please call Cheese and Chief by their first names, Dave and Will. I tried it briefly just in that intro, and it was so uncomfortable for me. I'm literally never doing it again.
I wouldn't, if you said Dave, I wouldn't know you were talking to me at all.
I think you was talking to me. I'm like, did you say me?
Yeah, I tried to do it just for you, just that one time, Aaron, but I hated it, and I'm not going to do it again. So Cheese and Chief in the house. Do want to note, got some questions about weather. Brian says, hey, White Sox has been pouring. It's pouring right now. It has been all day. It's actually not pouring over the stadium there in Chicago, and I think what they have is going to be spotty enough that they figure out a way to play. I won't rule out a delay. I think that is possible, but I think probably the more likely outcome is that they manage to even avoid that. So a chance for a delay in Chicago, but I think the more likely outcome is they play without issue. Similar story, I suppose, in Atlanta, though the delay risk is even lower there. And then all of the other games are all in that 6:40 start. The greatest concern of those would be in Washington, in case you're, I don't know, sports betting or doing something over there and you care about the weather. So that's essentially it for my weather spiel. I'm going to monitor things in Chicago. I just get the feeling, Cheese, do we want a pitcher there?
I mean, barely a super cheap
maybe
tournament dart. Like if he were to get delayed out of it, I mean, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then let's, for now, hold. If you do have that guy, keep him. You don't have to pull a random super cheap pitcher for a chance of a delay. But if I see something that looks, ominous or rough, I will probably give a little warning. But in the meantime, I think we can just dive right into this content. The people say they want the album. So after the show, you guys can get together, work on the album. But in the meantime, let's give them some winners. Cheese, tell me about the slate.
All right. The slate is basically a bunch of good pitching. Therefore, very little good offense. It's just a very pitching heavy. There's a lot of spend up pitchers that are all really good, where the matchups kind of decide the main pool for you, but that will leave a bunch of very good pitchers kind of unowned, namely Logan Gilbert. I think Bailey Ober is definitely the chalk on both sites. He would be the cash game guy. I like Framber Valdez better straight up if salary doesn't exist, but salary does exist. Ober he's in more of my lineups. Like, I want to have more Valdez and I don't. And that's how I know that everyone's going to have more Ober. Like, it's just, you can do a lot with that extra salary. The guy that I'm super torn on, both with if I want to play him and with our projected ownership, is Eovaldi. I don't think he's really as chalky as Ober. I think he's fine. I don't love him. Like, he's kind of the guy who projects well that I'm not super high on. I'm playing Brendan Pfat and Spencer Schwellenbach ahead of Eovaldi, making my main pool Ober, Valdez, Pfat, and then a little gap down to Schwellenbach. I have a little bit of Eovaldi, a little bit of Bowden Francis. I would not argue with you for playing Logan Gilbert, though I didn't do it. And then we're going down to cheap nonsense. We have the cheap nonsense in that Chicago game. Really, either side is viable, honestly, with Jonathan Cannon or Jack Kachanowicz. I'm on the Kachanowicz side because he's the better matchup and the better real-life pitcher. He's got a crazy, weird skill set that I absolutely love for real life. with his
What is
control
it?
and ground balls.
Oh,
So basically, he has barely more strikeouts than me and Will combined. Like
okay.
essentially the same 0% strikeout rate. But he's really good. Like all anyone can do is tap the ball lightly into the ground against him, and he doesn't walk anybody. And
That's
it's the
good.
White Sox.
Yeah.
So I'm playing him. But I do prefer Mitch Spence as the cheap guy, and I think the field will as well. So Spence followed by Kachanowicz. And then I'm playing, if I just super need all the star in the world, I'm playing Ryan Feltner ahead of Jonathan Cannon in like 2 lineups out of 50. So, don't get all excited there. Spence and Kachanowicz are in a fair amount of my lineups paired with one of those expensive guys.
And
then
go for it.
Go ahead. I was going to say on FanDuel, Valdez and Ober are kind of whole price tier of their own, whereas on DK, other than Valdez, they're all kind of mashed together. So I think Eovaldi probably is a little more popular on FanDuel, but I prefer Fott at 8,600 if you want to try to go cheaper than Ober. I could see getting down to a Spence or a Kachanowicz, but it's just not really that necessary on FanDuel. So personally, Fott is the lowest that I went at the 8,600.
Okay, let me close things out with some Eovaldi questions here. Where is he in your ownership? Because he's at the top of our board. Where is he for you, Cheese?
8th.
8th. And is it that you think his fantasy, because I'm looking, his price is similar to Ober, his fantasy points projection is kind of similar. Is it just that you think that's overdone? He's not that likely?
Yeah, I mean, they're very, very, very close. All of these guys. Ober, Schwellenbach, Eovaldi, Fott, Gilbert, Francis. Like, I wouldn't argue with any which way that you personally had those guys ranked.
Okay.
I don't like the way Eovaldi looks recently, and I feel like even in Oakland, he's had a lot of power risk here. So he's just my least favorite of that group. And I do think I don't think he's as chalky as we're showing, but I do think he's the next most popular guy after Ober. So I would rather just play the ownership game with those other guys.
Sure. Okay. Good stuff. Chief, I want to kick it to you and get your thoughts here at pitcher. Seems like we've got plenty of options in all the different tiers. So how are you breaking this down?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the cheap guys. I'm playing Cannon and Kachanowicz, and I'm not playing anybody else that's cheap. I have some Brandon Fott, have some Bowden Francis. Bailey Ober is absolutely my favorite pitcher on the slate. I have some Schwellenbach as well and some Valdez. I have a little bit of Eovaldi. I think me and Cheese are in the same boat here. I'm not completely sold that Eovaldi has more upside than some of these other pitchers. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ironically, Eovaldi is also 8th for me, which is super interesting. But there you have it. And I've only got 8 pitchers in my pool, and he's the last one. I did want to mention that the Boston Red Sox, the lineup that Francis has seen isn't like everything that he would have seen earlier this season, like with no Devers and a couple other these low strikeout guys. Like this particular lineup strikes out a little bit more. Same thing for Schwellenbach and the Mets. Like Schwellenbach should have some strikeout upside today. And same thing for Brandon Fott. Interesting stat I came across here with Fott versus the Giants. This lineup over the past 30 days, and I know that's a combination that can get a little noisy sometimes because that's a combination of matchup and pitcher skills and all that. But Fott has had about a 30% K rate over the past, his past few starts over the past 30 days. And this lineup is starting to strike out a lot more. And so to me, Fott is kind of my sneaky tournament play. Fott and Ober is a combo that I like, but just wanted to kind of mention those couple things as I was looking through some things today. That's something that caught my attention.
Okay.
For whatever it's worth, Ober Fott is my highest owned combo on DK.
Oh, boy.
There you have it.
Oh, boy.
Very good. Okay, let's flip it and talk about the bats. I also want to give a quick weather update. People are asking me about the Washington game. It is officially in a late start. The rain has cleared out that triggered that late start, and I still think they're probably just going to play and battle through some light rain. But it's Washington. They constantly do crazy stuff. So That's not a promise, but that is my strong lean as to what happens there in that game. But I realize not on the main slate, so I just wanted to keep it brief with that. Chief, let's flip it and talk about the bats and the stacks. What do you like?
I will say this, Roth. This Kansas City game is very important. That side of the game, like they want to play this game because it's a tight race with them, Detroit, Minnesota, and maybe one other town. I was looking at that today, but like that race is one of the tightest we've got. So I think they're going to have incentive to play. One of my favorite stacks is the Minnesota Twins versus Ryan Weathers. That's one of my top stacks, and they continue to be relatively cheap. Like, I mean, you're getting just a really cheap stack. So them, obviously, if you want to get to the Cardinals, I get it. But the Minnesota Twins are like number one. And then number two for me is actually the Yankees today. Slightly expensive in the middle here, but I think this is a spot where they could really get a hold of Dean Kramer.
Okay, very good. Cheese, your thoughts here as far as what's the chalk and what do you like?
Yeah, I think my main thought is there's really not like super mega chalk. Like probably the Twins are the highest owned team, but not like by a lot. And probably the Cardinals are second. And strangely, probably the Angels are third. Like it's a very bizarre slate. And then I think all the expensive stuff gets pretty well spread out. So I would tell you play whoever you want and kind of don't overthink the ownership. Definitely Minnesota is my favorite. I am way under on St. Louis. And then it's really more kind of like mini stacks and individual bats I'm trying to get. And then because there's so few teams that I like, essentially the Twins are the only team that I actually like. I just played everybody. And I mean, like my first 20 lineups, I probably have at least 17 stacks. Like that's just what this slate is. It's Minnesota, and then I don't care who I play. Like one of these teams will just randomly have a nonsense good game, and I'm going to have them. The only other team I really have a lot of in my lineups is the Angels. And again, I don't think that's sneaky because of their pricing and the matchup. But that's what allows me to stack all these teams. Like I can get a Dodger stack and a Yankee stack and a Padres stack and easily fit them with Angels, me and everybody else who's playing them.
Right. Okay. Good stuff. Guys, let's go around the horn, talk position by position. Cheese, lead us off with a little catcher talk.
I do like some catchers. Ryan Jeffers, definitely my favorite. Logan O'Hoppe, second. Those two guys make up the bulk of my ownership outside of stacks. Got a little bit of Austin Wells also. That's it. Like everybody else, I'm playing in their stacks, but Jeffers, O'Hoppe, a little bit of Wells. That's essentially my pool.
Okay. And Cheese, real quick. Stress says your favorite single entry stack. Is that Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Chief, your thoughts here at catcher?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar, man. And Roth, I think you know how much I've played Ryan Jeffers over the course of the season. I think that's a name you've heard from me several occasions.
Without a doubt.
And at 3,900, I mean, one of the top plays on the board today, and really not getting a whole lot of ownership. So I really like him. And he's kind of the main guy. And then I'm pretty close with Cheese here. Everybody else, I'm just getting to in a stack. But yeah, he's the main guy. And I feel like he's the obvious guy also.
Okay.
How about first base?
So first base is where it gets interesting for me because I am going to expand a little bit today. Look, man, Ohtani's been great. I'm not going to get Ohtani today. Shame on me, right? Like this probably means he's going to hit 3 home runs, but I'll just have to live with it. Matt Olson, though, is someone I'm very interested in today. Atlanta needs to win. Shame on Steve for not coming and producing this show when our teams need to play each other to kind of figure out who's going to get into the playoffs. He ran and hid today. I hope you're watching this, Steve. We'll talk about this later. But yeah, Matt Olson at the top of my list. I'm fine if you get the Goldschmidt. Like, you know, it's just okay. I'm okay with Horwitz at 3,800. Carlos Santana is probably one of the more obvious cheap plays. He's 3,500 in the 4-hole with a team that we love today. And it's looking like we're not projecting to get a whole lot of ownership, which is very interesting for me. So I like him quite a bit.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts there first.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Like, you can't even say that it's wrong at all, but it's just bizarre that any batter is like more than $2,000 more than the next closest guy at a loaded position.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. He's $7,500. I'm playing him because he's $7,500. I'm not like, it's not like my highest owned hitter, but like, I know it's the best hitter probably of all time is going to be like 5% owned because he's so expensive. So that's why I'm playing Kachanowicz and Spence, so I can play a little Ohtani.
Love it.
But out of the guys who are like realistically affordable, I like Toglia and Olsen the best. And then also doing a bunch of Carlos Santana on DK. That's kind of about it.
Steve asks, speaking of Ohtani, do the Padres intentionally walk him a lot? I don't know if this is like a historic question or if you just think that they will or not.
You can't, because Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Muncy, Will Smith are after him. Like, what good does that do you? It just guarantees that he scores.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, how about second base, Cheese?
No. Chief?
It's
Anyone?
one of those.
It's so bad. Oh my goodness gracious. So I really think that my highest owned player at second base, and this will tell you everything you know about the position, is a human being named Jack Lopez, because he is the cheapest one. It doesn't matter. I don't care who I play here, other than I don't want to spend money. Like, it's just bad. Like, Romy Gonzalez is fine. He's $3,300. But like Brendan Donovan and Marcus Semien and Ozzie Albies, and like, they're just not really worth it today. I'm playing a little of those guys in stacks, but then really just like, I'm playing Lopez. I'm playing Vaughn Grissom. I'm playing Davis Schneider. I don't care who I play. And I'll also say I'm playing Kyle Farmer, even though I feel confident that he gets 2 at-bats and then he's out. But he's $2,200 at a position where I think everybody else gets 0. So get me a walk and a run and your 2 at-bats. I think I've beaten the field.
Okay. Chief, you playing some of these jabronis at second, these 2K punts?
Well, yeah, Kyle Farmer is going in for sure. I will have some Gleyber Torres because I like the Yankees tonight versus Kramer. So at 4,200 he goes in. I'll have some Donovan just because the position is so weak. I'm also going to have some Jake Cronenworth against Andrew Knack. I do like the Padres also in that same game. But as Chi said, this is a weak position with the capital W. And I'm mostly playing cheap guys, as you can see. I'm not playing Altuve or spending up on Albies or anybody like that.
Yeah. All right. How about third base?
So third base, I really like Jazz Chisholm. He is up there, right? Like he's at the top of the list. But
Chief, pause, because you just said that. FanDuel, Jazz Chisholm's at second base. I forgot
correct.
to mention that.
Yes.
So totally different position on FanDuel. Play your Jazz at second base. Okay, back to you.
Good
Sorry.
note. Good note.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That perfect. Like Jazz, I'm fine with Royce Lewis, and when I'm saying fine, I'm saying that because he's getting pretty good ownership today on a pretty nice size slate. It's just feels like a weak offensive slate, but I'm still going to play him because this Minnesota team just feels like the best team on the slate. And gosh, it also feels like they're about to let us down now because I feel like everyone and their mom is going to be on Minnesota, but I think it's the right call. So just wanted to mention that. I'm probably going to get some Muncy just because, if you can get some of the back of the Dodgers, they're not as expensive, just kind of mix them with some pieces. So I'll have a little bit of him. And then at that point, we are into all the jabroni plays. Miranda at 3,500 down here. Romy Gonzalez against Francis. Like just getting to some of these cheap guys. And that's pretty much third base. But Jazz is absolutely my favorite, paying all the way up.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, talk me through. I'm looking at Royce Lewis here. I think, is that the full rainbow tag, or maybe he's missing one tag? But
he's missing one, but
missing
because he
one
didn't
for
get
the
it.
rainbow.
The only he's missing a salary saver because he's not a salary saver. So
That makes
yes,
sense.
every tag.
Yep.
Yeah, I love third base. Lewis is definitely my favorite, but he will be the chalk.
Yeah.
So I'm playing a pretty good bit of Manny Machado as the pivot off of him. But I like Jazz, McMahon, and Vlad as well. Cheap stuff is less desirable at third because the spend ups are good. I think it's fine to play Romy Gonzalez or Eric Wagaman, or you could full punt Miguel Vargas if you need it, but I would rather not need the punt at third.
How about shortstop, Cheese?
It's an oddly dead day at shortstop. Like a lot of the usual guys are just not playing on this slate. And the only one who is Gunnar Henderson against a very good pitcher, and he's still priced up. So I think Tovar is my favorite guy, but it's not really a priority spend up position overall on the slate. So I'm living a little more in the mid tier where I think everybody will be with Neto, Mason Wynn, and Carlos Correa. I think that's your chalky trio. I've got a mixed and matched, but Neto's at the top of my board with Correa second. You add Mookie Betts there on FanDuel if you want. And then I've got like cheaper guys, mostly just in stacks, like maybe even totally just in stacks. I'm looking at it, trying to remember if I have any of these guys as one-offs. I'm not sure that I do. Yeah, I don't think I do.
Yeah. Okay. Chief, your thoughts there? Short.
Listen, the best player on the board is Larnell Acuna. At 3,800, he got traded to the Mets. I'm kidding. That's just for comedic relief. I do like Gunnar Henderson at the top. Carlos Correa is going to be fairly chalky also, but I definitely think he's the right play. I'm going to get to some Josh Smith from Texas. I'll get to a little bit of Edmund. I'll get to a little bit of Arcia as well at the bottom of this line against Severino, just because he's cheap and the Braves need to win today. And once again, that's my fandom talking with Arcia. Okay, so that's why I'm kind of playing some Braves today. I want them to win, and I feel good about the game. But generally speaking, this is a spot where I'm just going to be having guys in stacks. So like Xander, he'll make it because I like the Padres. Edmund will make it in the Dodger stack, so forth and so on.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Take me to the old outfield, Chief.
Yeah, outfield's fantastic. You got Judge and Soto at the top, and I plan to get both of them. You're saying, well, you're not playing Ohtani, but you're playing Judge. Yeah, because I like the Yankee stack a little bit more in terms of the overall pricing. So I will have them. I think you can play Mookie Betts just fine. Tatis is a guy that I love. I'm fine with Santander. Obviously, people are going to play Byron Buxton. I'm fine with Burleson. I'm even fine with a guy by the name of Jock Peterson. Getting a ground ball guy and a fly ball guy tonight. Jock Peterson's sneaky for a home run. I know you haven't asked for those calls, but I think Jock's sneaky to take one out of the park tonight for what it is worth. I'll play some Jackson, some Merrill. I thought I was going to fade Coors like completely, and then I realized the ownership really wasn't that high today. It kind of caught me off guard, and maybe it's because it's St. Louis. So a lot of these St. Louis outfielders I have sprinkled in. I'm not stacking them as heavy as it sounds, but I did get some today, and so I'm perfectly fine with those guys as well. And then I talked about San Diego, like Jerickson Profar at 3,900.
Okay. Let's see.
And the cheap Minnesota outfielders. Sorry. The cheap Minnesota outfielders. They're all cheap.
Definitely. Okay. Dig an announcement here from Power. He says Casey Washington scheduled to start at 7:25 Eastern. My question for you, Cheese, is will the guy who tweeted me after my forecast and said, quote, "It's pouring here now and has been raining nonstop. There is no way this game is happening." Will he delete the tweet or will he leave it up, Cheese?
Delete.
Yeah, I think it's a likely delete target. I will monitor. I've already screen grabbed it. I'm ready for him. Go ahead. You delete it, bud. I'm calling with the quote tweet if you do. Cheese, a lot of good names in the outfield. A lot of big names, a lot of big bats. Where are you going?
Yeah, it's awesome up top. For the salary, my two favorite plays on both sides are Tatis and Buxton, which I think is a pretty common build. Like I think those guys, just because they're so much cheaper than Judge, Ohtani, Soto, I think that is your chalk. Out of those more expensive guys, Soto's my favorite. I also like Jaron Duran a good bit. And of course, all these guys are expensive. You can't just jam all of that in, but you can get, one of them in most of your lineups. Mid-tier stuff, Taylor Ward is my favorite guy. Certainly fine with the Cardinals lefties there, the Burleson, Newt Bar. Burleson and who?
Newt Bar.
Thank you. Roth, we did a show where you weren't here. I believe it was Grant Neefer was on, and Cardi said you could play Newt Bar tonight, and I just waited, and nothing happened.
Nothing.
It was
Nobody
very
yelled.
disappointing.
Nobody yelled.
Or was it was Luch? It was Luch. Sorry, yeah, Luch was
Yeah.
on, and I was like, I made him repeat the name, and he said Newt Bar.
It's not the same, man. It's
All
not
right.
the same.
Otherwise, he was great. So yeah, but Taylor Ward's my favorite of those. I like Jurison Profar as a semi-value, and then Mickey Moniak I have a ton of on DK. Get a little Jordan Beck in there as somewhat salary saver, and that's enough names. You can play everybody if you feel like it.
Yeah, those are a lot. Those are a lot of names. We want to give some home run calls. So we want to give the people that. We want to pay some bills. And also a scheduling note. If you caught the beginning of this show, Grinders Live crew said, hey, it's been a great season. I think this is our last show. Geez, I pulled up the schedule. They're scheduled to work tomorrow right before we do. Like, what are we talking about?
I think they meant the People's Show. I think he meant specifically Dean.
I think he just meant those three guys together as a group.
Yeah,
okay.
Those kind of like me and me. I think this is me and Dave's last show together.
Yeah, it's not the last crunch time show, but it's the last me with Will show.
Okay, I misread that. I take it back. All right. I just thought they were just ignoring the schedule and saying, we're just gonna quit.
All right,
Tuesday.
I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. We're close
out.
enough. We're done. Guys, make sure you're signing up for RotoGrinders Premium. There are a whole lot of good reasons to do so, including in that is that you can get RG Combo Lite. What is this, you're asking? Well, if you're looking to take game to the next level without breaking the bank, check out Combo Lite. Powerful product. You get access to all the tools you need to dominate your league. That means sim tools, stat databases, expert advice, all in one place. And the best part, it is designed for both the casual player like myself and the serious competitors like Dave Potts, per se. Whether you're playing for fun or chasing the big old cash prize, trying to take down $100,000, Combo Lite has you covered. Check out the link in our description for more info on RG Combo Lite. Let's catch it up.
Like
Joe
that.
says
It's probably healthy for you too. Like at local establishment, Nippers, the go-to local establishment, quite often you get the grilled chicken light, and it's better than the grilled chicken regular, which is not a menu item. But that just made me hungry. Basically, is what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, a Bud Light is better than a Bud Heavy. Some people would argue that there's many cases where you probably want the light version. And
so you save some money, and it's good for your health. I'm sure.
Exactly. It could be one of those times. Let's see, guys. Let's give some home run calls. The people want it. Geez, they want the bombs. What do you got?
Well, I got Taylor Ward, and I got Michael Toglio, and we'll go with the cheaper Mickey Moniak.
Joe says, Cheese, we better see in the NHL Discord this season. You're going to be hanging out in the NHL street this season?
I mean, I'll be reading the Discord. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, you're just silently stalking, reading, winning, just taking all your money. That's what he does. Chief, you got a few home run calls for me?
Give me Matt Olson, but my favorite of the day, it's my boy, Ryan Jeffers. You know it, you love it.
Mom.
Like he's in there today, man.
I
He's
approve.
in there today.
I approve. Devin, by the way, says Bud Heavy is greater than Bud Light. For one beer, yes. But if you're trying to drink 6 of them, you don't want the Bud Heavies. It's not going to feel great on the old belly. Let's see what we got here. Jumping in the Discord. That's where the cool kids are hanging out. Scrolling up. Here you go, FanDuel. Single entry Chief coming to you. A judgeless Yankee stack, would you prefer to go with a mini Oakland or mini Atlanta stack to go along with it?
Atlanta.
Atlanta it is. Okay. FanDuel
Staying at
single entry.
Homer.
Yep.
Yeah,
staying
that was
at
a
home.
homer move. That was a homer move for sure. FanDuel single entry. Chief, what's the stack? Chief, what's your favorite stack? FanDuel single entry.
Oh, God. I hate to say it's Minnesota. I feel like that's so chalky today, but it's the best spot of the night.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair. We had Edgar pop in. He says, hey, I got here a little bit late. Any weather concerns? I'll say that the Chicago game has more rain than what high resolution forecast models were showing. So a late start or a delay wouldn't shock me in that game. At this point, I'm not even sure which way they would go, or if they're just going to try to play through the rain. But there is some light rain. I still think it is relatively safe for bats, though I'm not going to promise you it's fully safe. So mild concern in Chicago. I'd put it at yellow if I were to redo the forecast now and just say chance for a delay. And I will keep you updated on that. When is the lock in that one? Cheese, you know when that game starts off the top of your head?
The Chicago game? It's
40 after.
6:40, yeah.
6:40, yeah. So I will post an update prior to that first pitch. But in the meantime, I don't think you need to really do anything. Cheese, I guess the concern for you would be that's where the cheap pitchers are, and it would be hard to make a pivot after.
Yeah. Well, if you have $300 left, you would play Spence over either one of those guys. So try to leave a couple $100.
Yeah. Okay. Eatery says, Chief, what was your home run call? My son was calling me at the same time. We feel that. We're parents here. We get that.
Tell
Chief,
him to please leave you alone, first of all. Go ahead,
excuse me. I'm watching Grinders Live right now. There's to be no interruptions.
It's Matt Olson and Jeffers from Minnesota.
Okay. Very good, guys. We have 11 minutes until lock, and the questions are coming in fast and furious. Let's get to some of these. Cheese, in a Padre stack, where would you rank Cronenworth ahead of Profar simply due to second base eligibility and already have Tatis and Merrill in the outfield?
Yes, that is exactly correctly worded, because I like Profar better than Cronenworth just straight up. But yes, with positional eligibility, Cronenworth.
Okay. Wendy's Ball says kids are minus EV, perhaps for money making, but for like life enjoyment, I think they're a big plus. I've come to
except during crunch time.
Except during crunch time, then it definitely minus EV. Cheese, right back to you. Eovaldi FanDuel single entry 9,200, or I can go Schwellenbach.
I prefer Schwellenbach.
Okay, great. Scrolling up just a little bit here in the YouTube. Scrolling up. Here we go. Chief, do you happen to know of any extreme pitcher or hitter umps tonight? Is that a thing you have easy access to?
Not right off the top of my head, but I can get it quickly.
Okay, let's do it.
Give me a
we
second.
got time. We got time to burn. Don't you worry. We still got 10 minutes.
Hold on.
Extreme hitter for Eovaldi, who we already don't like.
Yeah.
Compared to the
extreme. Also an extreme hitter for Bayo. So same thing for Francis. They're in the same game. There's a pitcher's ump in the San Francisco Arizona game for those of you that like fight as much as I do. Not extreme, but it is a pitcher's ump.
Okay, good stuff. Scrolling down just a wee bit, we'll go to Matt Smith question. Chief, I'm coming right back to you. It's DK Cash, Olsen Judge, or Shohei Buxton?
Wow, it's loaded with cash.
Right.
I'm going to go Shohei Buxton on this one, even though I'm not really playing Shohei. It's Shohei Buxton, I think.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't feel like a cash.
Hey, congrats on being rich, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for you. Must be nice. Yeah. Let us know if you want to jam Judge in that lineup as well. Let's see. Jardog says Cheese Olsen or Santana.
I mean, if you have the money, go Olsen.
Okay. Jim Parrish says, Cheese, what are your thoughts on my boy Wagamama?
I mean, he's my favorite cheap third baseman, but again, I'd prefer not to have to go cheap at third. But if I do, he's my preference.
His street pitcher in the Atlanta game also. Sorry.
Okay.
Try to sneak that in quickly.
Yeah. So I think Wagamama is like a European restaurant that may or may not be run by the crazy guy who yells at people. You know what I'm talking about, Cheese?
I do. I'm not going to think of the name. Well, so when the first couple days when Wagaman came up and I typed him in the musings and then did spell check, it said, "Did you mean Wagamama?" I was like,
yeah. So I went there one time. I was very excited to try what I've heard so much about, this Wagamama. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay was the name I was going for. I think he's somehow involved. And it was like a 2-hour wait for the shittiest food. So just in case you're ever there and you're like, oh yeah, Wagamama, I want to give that a go. It's from London and it's not a Ramsay. It was like 50-50.
There's most chefs yell at people though, so you're not necessarily wrong. That's
true. It probably is still a chef that yells at people.
I'm an idiot sandwich. You guys see that joke? I'm
an idiot. What are you? An idiot sandwich. It's the best gift, man. It's so good. Let's see. Chief, I'm coming to you. We got a question from David. It's a 3v3. My boy PFAT, Kirk, and Soto, or Framber, Ohapi, Ward?
I'm going with the first one because I like Soto a great deal.
Okay. Chief, Otani or Buxton?
That's Otani or Buxton is like the actual question?
That's the actual question. I assume there's
like
like
a $3K difference.
Price. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get Otani, go Otani. Once again, he's just expensive. But
right. There's nothing wrong with him other than the $7,500.
I think I caught a question. Is it okay if I slide something in real quick?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I think I caught one where someone was, and I did talk about this on the morning grind last night. Like, you can get Otani and be fine. Like, so I think someone asked, like, how much does Otani need to score for you to win?
Yeah, I was just coming to that.
He can score 0. Oh, my bad. Okay. So go.
No, you're good.
In fact, he can score 0 and you can still win if everything else goes right. Like, how many times have we seen, someone win a tournament with 2 zeros in their life? I've seen a tournament win with a negative score at pitching. It's really, baseball isn't like basketball where if you play LeBron and he gets you like 10 fantasy points, you're like totally cooked.
Right.
Otani could absolutely get a 0 and you could win tonight. Now, is it soaking up some salary? Yes, but if you have a stack that goes up for 12 runs and that stack is completely low owned and nobody's playing it, and you got Otani and he gets you 5 points, you can literally still win the tournament because all your honey for the end is upside at every position. Hopefully that clears that up, and I'm sure Dave has some other interesting tidbits he can add, but that's the simple version of it.
Yeah, Cheese, is there like a certain amount of fantasy points you're looking for at that price? You're like, oh, well, in theory, I need over 20 points or something like that, or what?
No, there really is no such thing. Like that's all. That points per dollar where you have a target is really only a thing in basketball. Like, I mean, how many does he need? Probably 50, but 0 might be enough.
Right.
Really, like that's really that goofy of an answer.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Olsen or Machado for a home run, Cheese? Which do you prefer, Olsen or Machado for a homer?
Love them both. 2 of my favorite plays on the slate. I'll lean Machado, but I think they both homer.
Okay. Wow, Cheese, got to give you this question because you have a history of performing here. Jay says, I need a futures bet. Who is making it to the World Series? Have you given it any time to think about this yet?
I really haven't. I will. Yeah, I don't even want to say.
All right. Let's pause and marinate and ruminate on it, and maybe at the end of the week or something, when we run it back for another show, I'll put you on the spot about postseason outcomes. That sound good?
I'll say something on Friday. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, that is perfect. DKGPP Chief, which of these 8K pitchers is getting channel caked tonight?
It's probably one that people don't want to admit. if I had to go out on a limb, I take it to Evaldi. But it's still a good spot for him. But that's who I'd take.
Yeah, that's fair. We are roughly 3-4 minutes until lock. This question is for you, Chief. FanDuel stack in a GPP. We decided, as chalky as it is, Minnesota is probably the answer. And he says, with what pitcher? You want to give him you want to pair that with somebody for him?
It's fodder over for me.
Okay, perfect. We'll go to Blink 182. Cheese, what are your thoughts on pairing my boy Bowden Francis and Brandon P-Fat in a large field DK tournament? Also, if you're using a 5-man stack, is it necessary to run it back with at least one hitter from the other team? I think the answer to that is absolutely not. But I will let you handle both of those.
Yeah, Fott and Francis is a good combo. Like, Francis is kind of far down my list. He's like 6th or 7th, but worth playing a little bit. Yeah. And yeah, definitely not even at all on the other part of that. Like, that's not a thing even remotely.
Right. There's no correlation. There's
zero.
There's zero baseball correlation unless the winds are really blown out, or it's 100 degrees, or it's at Coors or something like that. Let's see. Thoughts on McGreevy? I don't know if this is a person, but I wanted to ask the question just in case it is. Cheese, do we have a guy named McGreevy or McGruber? Or
yes, Skeevy McGreevy is the Cardinals pitcher.
Skeevy
like,
McGreevy.
What a rough childhood it was for that guy.
Tell me that's not really his name.
I mean, his name is really Michael McGreevy. I promise you, for at least 7th and 8th grade, he was called Skeevy McGreevy for sure.
Yeah.
I have 0, and in 150 I would have 0. He's probably like a decent-ish, almost average pitcher, but like I don't think he's even going to be really the full-time starter. I think it's more of long opener. That's a good picture. Yeah,
little McGruber action.
Yeah, like they brought him back up a couple weeks ago, and he pitched out of the bullpen for 3 innings and 38 pitches, and I think maybe he gets 4 or 5 innings, and he's in Coors and not really good. So my thoughts are his name is amazing, but I wouldn't play him
great name. Probably not something we're getting to. Okay, DK single entry Chief, Severino or Schmidt? Schmidt.
Oh man, I think I go Severino here, but I hope he gets destroyed tonight.
Okay, that's fair. We'll go to Jay Sam's question. It will likely be the last question of the day. Is there anything Cheese and Chief want to do to improve their DFS game? Cheese, you just answered it. What do you got?
The actual real answer is still more like contest selection, especially in other sports. Like I don't. There's no rhyme or reason. Like in football, I love DFS football. There's 0 rhyme or reason to what I'm putting in what, or what I play on any given Sunday versus the next one. Like it's just this random. Oh, that looks interesting. So I would say contest selection,
and not just what contest you're picking, but how you're approaching the various contests.
Yeah, which lineups in which contests as well.
Okay, that's a good point. Chief, you got anything you want to add here? We have hit the lock. Anything you're trying to improve as we near the off season?
Selfishly, I'm trying to improve my resume. I haven't won a live final, and I haven't won a millie, and I've done everything else. So I know someone was asking like about my resume. If you want to know what I've done, like just go to my RG page, and you'll see pretty much every major tournament I've taken down. I've won
things.
Yeah, I've won a bunch. But the millie and the live final are elusive to me, and so if you're asking, about the hole in my game, I guess I'm gonna say it's the prop game, and here's why. I don't play DFS as aggressively as I used to. Like I used to get really aggressive and play hammered every day and have massive amounts on the line, and because of the prop situation, I pick and choose a lot more when I want to really go at it. And so I'm probably a little less consistent in my I don't want to say approach, because the approach is about the same. Like I'm sorry. I'm going to say this now. I promise I'll close. So in order for you to win in DFS, right, like you've got to have enough swings at the plate. and I've dialed back my volume over the years, and that's probably impacted my ability to really hammer some of these tournaments. So I think if my volume went back up, and that's probably something I need to do, I probably need to increase my volume just a bit more if I want to get back to what I consider top level success.
Yeah. Okay. A good note. R. Cathelza says that's the only thing in Texas that we've got. We don't have sports betting, so I'm there as well. We're about that DFS life. Hey, good stuff, guys. As always, we may or may not run it back later on this year. I don't know. It seems it is unlikely, but we appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always. So for Chief, for Cheese, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.